this, but hey, we're getting it done, and there's some things to talk about.
And most importantly, we are back.
Yeah, I want to apologize. Life got in the way last week, basically, and we didn't get to record. So we got some things to discuss this week, talk about, and move on down the road with it.
I want to first mention our thoughts and prayers go out to the families who lost their lives and their homes in these storms in the Midwest last week. That was one of the few reasons why we did not record last week. We had internet outages here in our local town, and all across our area there was so many tragedies that had happened, so we decided to take a week off. Dad was a little bit under the weather as well. So we are back, and there is a lot to talk about. We're not going to go all the way back to what, we did pick up some news from when we left off, but there is some important news to discuss, and there is some things that we are probably not going to discuss, and if we don't, well, let us know, and maybe we'll talk about it next week.
Oh, we're always open to that. Anything anybody wants to talk about or hear our opinion on or have us do some research on, we'd be tickled to death. Yes, I also want to, follow up with him. The county we live in here, 6 people lost their life to this storm. And, plus a lot of people lost their homes, and so we want to keep them in our thoughts and prayers.
Alright, so instead of all the doom and gloom, let's move on to some exciting news. The first exciting news on the docket today is in the NFL. We have on March 14th, Mac Jones, that is Dad's boy, who I consider that, signed a 2-year, $7 million contract with the San Francisco 49ers. Mac Jones says he is eager to join a proven system with the 49ers and wanted to surround myself with winners. What's your initial thought with that? Earlier in the offseason, we saw that the 49ers were kind of preparing what it looked like for a sell-off. But with this entry of Mac Jones, do you see them having a big draft maybe?
Well, I think Mac Jones, from their standpoint, is probably a good choice for to back up Purdy. When you go back to his rookie season, I mean, he come out and had the world talking. That he was going to follow up Tom Brady there and do some big things. But after changing that first season with Josh McDaniels, after Josh left, then he never seemed to really blossom after that. So I really think that Mac Jones is a good quarterback. I think he just needs to be in the right system with the right coordinator and the right coach. And, hey, we'll see where it goes from here. At least he's not giving up. And, he's got a job. He's gainfully employed. So, I hope it all works out for him.
You look at guys like the guy that the Rams had signed in the 90s. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Kurt Warner. He was a grocery bagger. So, I mean, you respect those guys who just don't give up. And to see Mac Jones back out there for at least this year, and maybe he has a good training camp, and, I mean, even if he gets cut, maybe he will find somewhere else to replace an injured quarterback or something, because we all know that there's probably going to be an injured quarterback come week 1.
Well, you know what? That makes me think about, go back to Rich Gannon. Whatever year that would have been, late 90s, I guess. Rich Gannon had spent a big part of his career on the bench. And really, there was not ever a lot really talked about him. Then he become the starter for the Raiders, and they went to the Super Bowl. They didn't win, but they went to the Super Bowl. They lost to Tampa Bay that year. But no, I mean, who knows this game? The right thing can happen, and the right system, and the right coach, the right thing. And the biggest thing, and when I say being around the right coach or the right coordinator, is getting him to believe in himself again.
Right. And this last year with Brock Purdy, he dealt with a ton of injuries, and he did not play in 2 games. A Week 12 loss was an injury, and then a Week 18 loss due to some injuries he sustained to right shoulder and elbow. So I guess their thought was, Mac Jones isn't really considered that young, flashy quarterback anymore because he come into the league in 2021, I believe.
Yeah, I believe that would have been right.
So he's
this would be his 5th season, wouldn't it? Coming up, this would be his 5th season coming up.
So he's not really got that what I consider that veteran status, but he's also not that rookie. So this was honestly a pretty good pickup for them.
Yeah. Well, I think it is, and the one thing, and I really hate to say this probably makes some people mad, but as much as I like Brock Purdy, I sometimes feel like that he might be just a little bit injury prone. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I hope that's not the case.
We'll see moving forward, but I hope the 49ers nothing but the best because I really do like them as a team. I wish that they would have beat the Chiefs those 2 seasons that they played them in the Super Bowl. But, I can't change the past, but, maybe we'll get another Kansas City, San Francisco Super Bowl in the future.
Well, that team is a team that I've always respected. It's, rich in history. Look at their history with Super Bowls and the things they done. Right now they're very well coached right now, and they still got a lot of talent there. Yes, they had a very difficult season last year, injuries, other things, but I don't expect to see them down this year. I think you'll see them. I would be really surprised if they're not a playoff contender.
Oh, absolutely. They had a very good season a couple of years ago, and then just last year, I think, we've seen this in several teams. The wheels just fall apart. And I think they had a pretty good start to the year too.
Yeah, but, they had other injuries too, a lot. And then when you're starting quarterback, you're the leader of the team. When he's not healthy, he missed a couple of games, I think, but there was a lot of the season he wasn't healthy anyway. So, hey, wish them the best and see what happens this year. I think, as I said, they'll be a playoff team.
Well, in other news, I want to tell you a quick story before we go on to this next one. So, I think I'm part psychic.
Okay, I can't wait for this.
So, in 2019, rather, right before the National League Division Series, the St. Louis Cardinals was playing the Atlanta Braves. I predicted the first inning, but everything was going to happen to the T 2 hours before game time. And there's receipts to prove that because my Instagram was blowing up after the second inning. And people are like, oh my goodness, is this like God incarnate? And I'm like, no, I am not. I'm a proud Christian and I'm not like that.
You got lucky.
No, I'm not lucky. And I tell you why I think I'm part psychic. Because free agent, quarterback, Aaron Rodgers visited the Steelers, but there is no deal that's imminent. But I think that's going to happen.
You would wonder why it wouldn't happen. Why? And that being said, I still think that the Steelers need to draft quarterback. Because, Rodgers is he's not a long-term thing.
Well, let me put this way. He's not a long-term, he's not a future quarterback, but with seeing what they've done this year, and let me go down in my notes to what Mr. Hayward had to say. Cameron Hayward on the Steelers off-season moves has said, "We are in a state of urgency."
Yeah, I saw that.
So, in the efforts to look past those failures that they've had the several years, they went out and got DK Metcalf, and then they've also added defensive contributors like Malik Harris, Darius Slay, and Juan Thornhill. Okay? So, maybe maybe let's not draft a quarterback this year. Let's go out and get Rodgers this year, and let's draft next year. Because like you've said before, we're draft win kind of league now. We don't draft and wait around on anybody.
And I wish we could, because that was the good time when you could you draft somebody that's your future, and you let him have a season on the sideline with Aaron Rodgers, and it does a lot for him.
And I tell you what, I don't think this draft class is gonna be that good.
It's very quarterback weak. Very quarterback weak.
That's why I almost think you probably need to wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. I mean, obviously there's some talent out there that maybe that people don't even realize. You know, like hence the Tom Brady, type thing. Brock Purdy.
You know who they need to wait on? They need to wait on Arch Manning.
Oh yeah.
I think,
where's he at now? Where's he? How far along is he?
I don't even know if he's in college yet.
Is he still in high school?
He may still be in high school, but like he was putting up college.
Peyton's nephew, right?
Yes, that is Cooper's son.
Okay. Well, that's going to be exciting to see what he does. I'm looking forward to that.
I am definitely going to be following him through his college career.
Hope and pray that he doesn't get hurt or anything like that, because it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see him come along. But no, the Steelers, there's some things I think they need to do. I don't really hate to get into this, but for example, they're very well coached, but they run the same defensive schemes over and over and over for years. And it still works for the most part, but sometimes you got to repackage them and give them a different look, even though you may be doing the same thing, but you give them a different look, like the Patriots used to do all the time. Repackage them and make them look a little, and I'm not sitting there, I'm not a coach, but I just know that I think they're very well coached, and I think that Mike Tomlin needs to be their head coach, but I really think they need to go in there and try to make a few changes within. And I think him being the leader of the team needs to make sure that he does do that.
I can agree with that. I mean, but you also say, at the end of the day, they have not been under 500 since Tomlin has been head coach. Their worst record has been 8-8.
I agree with that 100%. That's the reason I think if they go in there and, repackage a few things, get them a good quarterback and everything, I think there's no question that, like this is used if they had an Aaron Rodgers, I think there's no reason to believe that they're not going to be a playoff team.
Right. And, I mean, I think an
Aaron Rodgers... this year.
Yeah, they were this year.
They were this year, yeah.
I mean, I think an Aaron Rodgers scheme would probably work a little better than, say, a Russell... what's his last name? I'm wanting to say Russ Westbrook, but that's a basketball player.
Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson. I think Rodgers' scheme would work a little better because Wilson's scheme for most of his career was tuck it and run. He don't have the legs that he once had in Seattle.
No, it's true. And here's the one thought. I don't know if anybody would agree with me on this, but here would be my thought for the Steelers. If you sign Aaron Rodgers, instead of drafting very hard on a quarterback this year because it's weak, draft real hard on the offensive line. Build a solid offensive.
Absolutely.
And it's not just building it around Aaron Rodgers, it's building it for your future quarterback. So I would draft heavy on the offensive line. I would put a lot of resources into that, get that built up strong. Number one, you're going to get more out of Aaron if you're taking care of him. And number two, when you do get your future quarterback, then you've got a good line to put him behind.
Absolutely.
Maybe I need to be the head coach.
Well, you ever been on a riverboat?
Yeah.
Well, what do you think about Riverboat Ron?
I think that Riverboat Ron is a very, very talented man. He's a good coach. He proved he was a good coach. And I'm glad to see that he's still in the business. I'm happy for him.
Cal hired former Panthers and Commanders head coach Ron Rivera as general manager of the football program. That is a college in Berkeley, California. That is something I was unaware that Cal was actually a Cal college, that it was like, I thought Cal was always a part of like UCLA.
Yeah.
So, I mean, learn something new every day. But no, I agree.
I do remember hearing a lot about Cal in the past. I just didn't really put together.
Right.
But anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off there. But no, I think Riverboat Ron is is a very good football mind, really strong defensive coach. I think he'll be very successful there where he's going to. And I hate to see him not in the NFL, but I'm very happy for him that he's still in the business.
And it seems like, do you think that North Carolina has started a new trend?
You mean building up their football program?
I mean bringing
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Ex-football coaches like Riverboat Ron and Bill Belichick, who are older, that may have missed out on a job to work in their football programs.
What do you think? I mean, look at it this way. If these guys are successful, if Ron Rivera turns things around in Cal, which I have no doubt that he will, and if Bill starts winning in North Carolina, does things with them, you'll probably see more of these older guys go there. But here's the thing, and I've said this before, with Bill, he's very smart. We know that. We know what kind of a coach he is. But just the attraction of Bill Belichick of attracting players. Look, he could almost sit in the stands and have it coached for him. The other people coach for him with the talent that's going to want to come there. And I've used this example before. If you have a son that's a very talented guy that's getting ready to go to college, I mean, if you get a chance to let him play for Bill Belichick, I mean, aren't you going to send him there? So
absolutely,
I think that Bill Belichick just attracting players. I mean, I'm anxious to see how this goes.
And I mean, North Carolina has never really been known for their football program, so I think that you'll see probably more national broadcasts in North Carolina.
Yeah, here's one thing that a lot of people are questioning, because you can just about be sure that Belichick is going to implement an NFL scheme in there. And that's not really, a lot of people think, well, that won't work in college. Well, I think that you'll see if this is successful with Belichick, I think you will see in the future that a lot of college teams are going to be playing more of NFL type schemes in their programs.
Well, we're already kind of seeing that, on the basketball side of things, especially because of the NIL deals.
Right.
You're aware of the NIL deals, right?
Not the full details.
So, basically, companies can, pay college players to promote their things, just like pro athletes. And
right.
Before that wasn't allowed.
Right.
Now it is. So now you're seeing more and more of these college athletes get paid and acting more and more like these professional athletes.
Right.
So I think this this pro scheme will work in the college level.
Well, a lot of times you have guys that were in a Marcus Mariota is one I think about. Now, where was he? Where did he come from? Was it somewhere up the Northwest, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But he came from a college that really played hard with nothing like an NFL type scheme, more like high school and college, and early college. And he didn't make the transition very well at all. So, it just makes you wonder if what Belichick, if he brings what he does, if this is not going to also get young men more ready for the NFL.
Yeah, Marcus Mariota went to Oregon.
I knew I was pretty close. I said Northwest somewhere, and he was very successful, but they played in a very unlike NFL scheme. So I'll be anxious to see where this all goes in the next. I think we'll start seeing something pretty quick too in the next year or two.
Absolutely. So this is an interesting news as we're moving along right here through our NFL news of the week. The Seahawks agree to terms with ex-Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp on a 3-year, $45 million contract.
Okay, my first question, I should have this. How old is he?
I'm wanting to say right around 30. I don't have the exacts here. I should have had that.
I thought he was going to be a little older than that. But anyway, I really don't. Be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure how he done with the Rams. That's a name that you don't hear a great lot about. Seems like.
Maybe you don't hear a whole lot about. He is 31, but he was a big part of the Super Bowl win. Yes. In his time in the NFL with the Rams, he had 634 receptions, 7,776 receiving yards, and 57 receiving touchdowns.
But that's where I was going to. I don't remember hearing much about him since the Super Bowl.
No, he has dealt with some injuries.
I figured so. Must be.
But he did make the Pro Bowl in 2021. He was a receiving yards leader in 2021. He did some really good things in 2021. But other than that, he was really not a whole lot there past the 2021. Because, I mean, he had some decent years after that. He did win the Triple Crown that year. He was Super Bowl MVP. And then in February, they announced that they informed him that they had future plans. They would intend to trade him. And they could not find a trade partner. So then they ended up releasing him. And then on the 14th of this month, he ended up signing to a 3-year, $45 million contract with the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, that, hopefully it works out good and resurrects him a little bit and in a new program. And if so, it'll be a win-win for all of them.
Absolutely. New quarterback up there in Seattle, so that's going to be interesting. So, new life up in Seattle, so maybe we'll see Seattle make a big push for the postseason next year.
Now, I'm really anxious on air here to hear, Mr. Texan, your thoughts on the Tunsil trade. It's a little unique, I thought. It's pretty interesting in a way what they've done there. I'm just let me hear what you think about this. I'm going to sit back and be quiet and listen.
All right, go through the full trade first, and then I will explain to you my thoughts.
Okay. I guess this occurred on the 15th of March. The Texans traded Tunsil. What's his first name?
Laramie
Tunsil, and a 4th-round pick in this year in 2025 NFL draft to the Washington Commanders in exchange for a 2025 3rd-round and 7th-round picks, along with in 2026 picks in the 2nd and 4th rounds. So they're trading Tunsil plus their 4th round this year for a 3rd and a 7th this year and a 2nd and a 4th next year. That's interesting. Let's hear what you think about this.
So the initial reaction when I saw this, it kind of hurts, to be honest, because he has been one of the best offensive linemen that the Texans have seen in the organization since the organization has really come into an existence in 2002. And it hurts because, yes, we gave up quite a bit to get him in 2019, but it wasn't like a whole lot. We ended up paying him quite a bit for the time that he played in Houston. But I do appreciate his time in Houston, and when he said that there's no hard feelings for the Texans, it is, at the end of the day, it is a business. I really respect that.
But they're netting 4 picks with this.
I'm getting there. But we are getting some draft picks, and with the current state of our team, that we are in a win-now mode, I love seeing the picks. So, with not only us getting Danielle Hunter, which we were going to talk about later here, being in that kind of the same role, to a 2-year, $49 million contract to kind of replace him. Also, we're getting 4 picks for the next 2 years. So, at the end of the day, it's really not going to hurt us, but it's just going to hurt me as being a fan favorite of him.
And next year, one of those picks is a second round. So
that is huge.
That's big. I know what you're saying here, but I still say in the end that the Texans is going to come out on this.
Absolutely, I think both teams will come out because he is kind of getting agey at 30 years old to be a offensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, 30 is kind of getting up there at age.
And
because he has had some minor injuries. But I think he's got at least 2 good seasons left, and if they can get him at least 2 good seasons out of him, I think it'll be a win-win trade.
And basically, they swapped their 4th round for a 3rd round too this year.
Right.
That's pretty. I mean, it's kind of. I'll be honest with you. I'll be 100% honest with you. I'm surprised that the Washington went for all that. To be honest with you, that's pretty deep on their part.
Well, if you watched the postseason, they didn't have much protection for Daniels.
No, that's true. They didn't. But man, they're going in pretty deep for that.
They're in a win now mode too.
I just I don't know. I just wondered if they couldn't have took them picks and did about as good on the market. But I don't know. We'll see.
But another thing that really interests me was Derek Stingley Jr. and the Texans, who he is in his 3rd season, or he's just finished his 3rd season, will now have a 3-year extension worth $90 million, making him the highest cornerback in NFL history. Guess how much of this is guaranteed?
Well, first off, let me comment on this. Whoever heard of a cornerback making $30 million a year? Whoever thought that would happen? I'm going to guess that probably 60% of it's guaranteed.
$89 million of that $90 million is guaranteed. I know that sounds completely strange.
Why didn't they just go ahead and make the last?
I had no idea.
That's strange.
That is very strange. But I'm really excited about that. I love Stingley. Stingley done some very good things for us on the defensive side.
And he's young, too.
He is very young. So I think if we can sneak out maybe another good cornerback in that 7th round pick to help him out, I think we'll be in a good spot this year.
The Texans, man, I think all season they did quite a bit of stuff in the off season. So
they've really done some good stuff. Like I said, they brought in Danielle Hunter from the Vikings over from a 2-year, $49 million contract. That's going to be a pretty good deal for them.
I wonder how they're getting. How are they cap wise?
I was looking at it earlier. They're like, I don't know the exact cap of what it needs to be this year, but they're like at $300 million.
Here's something I would like to do if people would be interested, and I would. And we can do it a couple more times too. I mean, it's still really early, but maybe in the next few weeks here, we could take a little segment of our show, and we can discuss where everybody's at cap wise. It's hard to tell until it gets a little closer to season and all that stuff. But this always kind of curious in that, and don't get into it necessarily today. But I would like to discuss a little bit, at least everybody, at least half the league where they're at, on the cap. That's always something that's very interesting to me.
They've got about $18.5 million on cap space right now.
Well, they'll have to pay their drafts and stuff, so, what they draft. But
that's definitely going to be interesting. So, but
what do you think about what the Giants and Winston having a little marriage here? What do you think of that?
So I think that definitely takes us out of the conversation of Mr. Rodgers going to the Giants.
Yes. Yes, I think it probably does. You think they're planning on? You think they're looking at Winston and being their guy?
No, I think that they're looking to get through this weak spot with since it's a terrible weak quarterback season, and Winston is 31 years old, so I mean, you give him a 2-year deal, a really cheap 2-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at what Hunter's making, and you look at what Stingley's making as,
Well, I think about this,
as line and cornerbacks, and then you look at what the quarterback Winston will be making, only $4 million a year roughly. But it's going to definitely be interesting to see what Winston and the Giants end up doing.
Well, I think of this a little bit with Winston, with Mac Jones. Both these guys have really put a lot of hard work into, trying to be a good quarterback, and they both had their hiccups. So I'm just, from another thing, I'm just glad that those two boys have gotten an opportunity to. I know that don't seem like huge money in football, but $4 million a year is pretty good money. So I'm glad they're getting an opportunity to be a little bit rewarded, at least financially, for everything they put in. And and they've both made pretty good money so far. And if they took care of their money, they're probably set for life right now. And maybe one of those careers will get resurrected and they'll really do good.
You never know. Like I said. Kurt Warner went from bagging groceries to winning the Super Bowl. So
apparently, Winston's pretty well respected too.
I think he's a hard worker.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. But I'm just glad that both of them still in football and they're not out. That's what I was glad to see.
So looks like it's time to move on.
MLB.
One of the biggest pitchers in the league, Garrett Cole, is
former
Astro for 2 seasons, is to have Tommy John surgery. He announced this week on his Instagram. He is 34 years old, and he might have already had it. I don't know if he ended up having it this week. There was no actual reports that I could find, but he ended up saying that he was going to have it. But at 34, he is going to have it now. And I definitely think that this is going to help him push into his 40s to pitch. We've seen pitchers get their Tommy John surgeries in their 40s, and it's pretty much in today's game inevitable. So I hope everything goes well and he returns next year. I have nothing respect for the guy. He did really good for the Astros for his 2 seasons that he was there.
Absolutely.
He just was greedy and decided to leave for the 9 years, $329 million deal in New York.
I'm not going to put him down for that. That's a lot of money.
No, because and
his kids and his grandkids and his great grandkids, if taken care of, are all set.
Absolutely.
And the kids after that. And so, they're all set if they... But, and here's the thing. That's what I always think about Tommy John. To me, it's a 2-year deal. He'll be back next year, but they're never going to be 100% on that first year back, are they?
Well, it just depends because, Justin Verlander was, and when he come back in 2022, he won the Cy Young.
Well, that's okay then. Well, it could be the same... And Cole hadn't had a lot of injury problems, though, has he?
No, he hasn't.
Been pretty healthy, otherwise.
He's been really healthy.
How old did you say he is?
34.
Didn't think he was quite that old, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because he was, 29 when he left Houston.
Yeah, if this goes good, then you're right. This will put him up to pitching up to his 40 anyway. I'm sure.
Right.
And he's a hard worker, so he'll rehab hard.
Oh, yeah, he will. As soon as he gets an opportunity to start throwing, he'll definitely start throwing. He'll get out
and
there
I think he'll keep himself in good shape, too.
Right, absolutely. I don't think that they'll have a problem with that. So, moving on here, Gunnar Henderson was the starting shortstop for the Baltimore Orioles, and he was the Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago. He is to start the season on the injured list. He had played in only 3 Grapefruit League games this spring, going 1 for 6, and didn't appear in a game after February 27th, and sustained an injury on a jump catch during the first inning of a matchup in the game versus the Blue Jays. So it is It is stated that he will miss at least opening day, and it is not stated how long he will miss. So once I get to my predictions, that is why I'm kind of putting the O's where I'm putting them. So that's kind of the little background information
kind of
there.
just a freak accident, wasn't it?
It's kind of sounding like it. Don't really sound like it's anything too serious. But I figure he'll probably miss at least the first month to month and a half.
You think he'll go that deep?
Well, I mean, he hasn't really played much since February 27th, and he's going to miss the start of the season. So, I mean...
Well, if they can get him back, after the first month, that's not terrible.
Yes, that's not terrible. So, I mean, hopefully he gets back. Hopefully rehab goes quick, and everything works out for him and goes good.
Where was the injury? Where did you say the injury was?
It didn't really say, so it said he was injured on a jump throw. So I wonder
either
leg or if it was like in his intercostal area or something. I'm not quite for sure of where that was, but I'm just interested in to see how long he ends up being out for sure. Hopefully he gets back really soon.
Well, and maybe we'll hear a little bit more about what the injury was too as we go along.
Absolutely. So moving on here, the Cincinnati Reds closer Alexis Diaz will open the season on the injured list because of a left hamstring inflammation. So he's got a big leg kick. So it didn't really say exactly which leg it was. So either leg. Left hamstring. Whoops, my bad. So left hamstring, that is the left leg that he kind of brings up real tall. So I can that is his not plant leg, but his landing leg. I can't talk tonight. Landing leg. So I can definitely see where he might be having some issues. So they say that the Reds' closing job is wide open to start the season, so your buddy Tito Francona has got some questions to answer moving forward.
Well, if it's not a long-term thing, you can just work off the bullpen. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you would think that it's one of them deals that's not going to last more than a month, maybe.
You would think...
If it's a long-term deal, then, they may have to sign somebody.
You would think, and I hope it's not one of those nagging injuries that just nags at him
Isn't
all
he pretty
season
good?
long.
Isn't he a pretty good closer?
He's a pretty decent closer that they've had for a couple of years now, so I wish him nothing but the best.
How old is he?
I believe he is...
Not that old, is he?
Almost 30.
Okay. Well, he'll come out with pretty good. I'm sure he's probably getting some good rehab and stuff, and maybe he won't miss more than a couple of weeks or so of season.
He is 29 years old.
Okay, well, he's young enough. Like I said, I'm sure that, maybe a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks will be all he'll miss, and he'll get back in there. Because that'd be pretty, I'm going to kind of be a Cincinnati Red fan this year.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I like Francona, and I think that, if they can get him back, it's going to be pretty important. I mean, the closer's pretty important, so, I hope they can get him back.
All right, so moving on. So Zach Geloff, was expected to be the everyday second baseman for the Athletics in the 2025 season, will miss the start of the regular season. He had to have surgery to repair a hamate bone fracture. So he will at least be out for, I would say, at least the first month to a month and a half. There's not stated a time frame. It just says we'll start to miss the start of the regular season. So that is going to be interesting to see how long that he will be out.
Did that happen in a game?
I believe so. Didn't really give much details on when it happened. Of course, these guys, they don't really want to tell you if they have an injury or not until they actually have to.
They want to be quiet as they can about it. They want to pull the Patriot way, the way they used to do.
So that's gonna definitely be interesting to see how that goes. The Athletics, they're playing in Sacramento this year, so they're gonna be playing in a minor league ballpark. But as you'll see in my um, predictions later, I don't have them last in the division, so we're they're moving up in the world.
Who's that?
The Athletics.
You mentioned here a while back you thought they'd made improvements.
No, they had. They spent quite a bit of money, I think, because MLB and the Players Union told them since they were leaving Oakland, be like, hey, you probably need to spend a little bit of money.
When are they moving east?
They said that their stadium in Vegas should be ready in 2 years.
Okay. Well, hey, I hope they do good. I hope it's a successful move and everything, and I hope both the Raiders and the Athletics, things work good for them. And I think that it's a big plus for the city of Las Vegas.
They will definitely sell. They will definitely sell there. So moving on, this is some unfortunate and sad news that I'm going to read off. So this is a quote from the New York Yankees. Our hearts are heavy and the Yankees family is filled with grief after learning of the passing of Miller Gardner. The team said, words feel insignificant and efficient in trying to describe such an unimaginable loss. It was just Brett, who literally grew up in this organization for more than 17 years. So did his wife, Jessica, and their 2 boys, Hunter and Miller. Miller Gardner was Brett Gardner's son. I do not know if it was his oldest or his youngest. All I know that what happened here was that he ended up passing away.
How would you say? What did you think his age was?
I think he was. I don't know exactly. I think he was probably. Think about a teenager.
Well, but not saying what happened. I mean, you can speculate, and I hope it's not.
But no, they said that. Okay, so Miller Gardner was 14 years old, and they said he was sick after he passed away after getting sick on a family vacation. So.
And he's been healthy, and no other knowledge of any other.
No other knowledge of anything that would speculate to be anything that would be bad.
I hate to hear. That's really sad. It's a very difficult time for him, and I'm sure the whole Yankees organization really feels it. So and keep him in our thoughts and prayers, and hopefully they can move forward here. The family, and it's gonna be a difficult time for them though. Like I said, we need to think about them all.
Absolutely. So after we finish that, we're going to move on. So the Cubs lost both of their Tokyo opener games against the Dodgers. It was a pretty much Dodger heavy 2 games out in Tokyo.
Those are regular season games.
Those were regular season games.
But no, the rest of the regular season has started yet, right?
No, they will start on Thursday.
So do they have preseason games after these?
There's preseason games continuing to go on now until...
No, I mean those 2 teams. Will they...
Oh, yeah, they're still playing preseason...
That seems very strange. Very strange.
That's just the way they've been doing it. So they went to Japan last weekend. They played a couple of games against a couple of Japanese teams last Friday and Saturday, the 15th and 16th. And then they played the 18th and 19th against the Cubs, and the Dodgers did, and beat Cubs 4-1 and 6-3. And now they have 3 more preseason games. They're playing the Angels, actually right now, and then they will have the opening day for everybody will be on Thursday. Everybody gets Wednesday off, and then they'll go to their respective cities that they will be starting at and get a start there.
You don't want to hear this, but the Dodgers going to be a tough team.
Oh, I know. It's going to be tough, but, they'll
win 105 games, at least.
Well, I don't know about that, but because, they do have good pitching, but we'll definitely see how it goes. It's going to definitely be interesting to see how it goes. All right, so moving on really quick, I want to go over my official predictions because since the MLB season starts this week, I want to go through each division and the wild card standings of what I think is going to happen, and then at the end of the season, we will look back on this and see how correct I was, and if I was really spot on, then we will continue to say that I am part psychic, and then if not, then we can just laugh about it.
I like it. Well, let's hear it.
I think you're just jealous.
Maybe I am a little bit. Well, I want to hear this. Go.
All right, take it away. So starting in the AL East, I have the Yankees winning the division. I don't have the games win because, that can kind of get confusing. But I have the Yankees winning the division. I have the Red Sox after that. The O's after that in third place. The Blue Jays in fourth place. And following up in last place, I have the Tampa Bay Rays. Moving on to the American League Central Division, I have the Tigers winning the division. I think that is kind of a surprising pick that a lot of people are going to be surprised about. The Royals will have the second place pick. Then we have the Twinkies, the Guardians, and in last place, none other than the White Sox.
Interesting.
Moving on to the American League West, we have the Rangers winning the division. We have my Astros getting in second place, Mariners in third place, the Athletics in fourth place, and the Angels in last place. So then I will go through the wild card standings of the American League, and then I will kind of explain to you why I think each team will win the division and why I think each team will win a wild card. And I'm not going to get into a lot of things why teams won't win their division or wild card because for example, the White Sox, they suck, they don't spend any money. That simple.
Right.
The Red Sox I have slated as the first wild card team. The Royals I have slated as the second wild card team, and the Astros I have slated as the third wild card team. And from the outside looking in, barely not going to get there, but they're going to be super close and going to be fighting there all season long. I have the Mariners and Twins. And I'm going to start with the wild card of why I think that these two teams are going to be on the outside looking in, because the Twins have not done enough. I think that they needed to continue to rebuild their team, restructure their team to compete with the other teams in the division of the AL Central and even the other teams in the wild card race. I don't think they have done enough. Same thing with the Mariners. They have done things, they have made moves, but I don't think they have done enough.
They don't spend any money either, do they?
Not enough. They don't do what they need to do. The Astros have made very good moves, but I think the Rangers will oversee them in the West. I think that they will win the West hands down. but I think that the Royals, Astros are going to be a dogfight for the second and third wild card. It could be interchangeable by the time we get to the game 162. And the Red Sox will be probably a 95-game winner, because if they can get all their clubhouse stuff straightened out, I think they will be just fine. They had some clubhouse stuff, towards the beginning of spring training.
What are you talking about there? I'm not...
Well, when they brought in Alex Bregman, they were kind of fighting over who was going to be the starting third baseman, who was going to be the starting second baseman, and this, that, and the other.
That'll be the manager's decision.
Well, everybody and their brother was making assumptions, and everybody on the team was trying to say that who was going to do that. So that's why I think that each team is going to do on the wild card side. The Rangers, like I said, they are a very good team. They've made some good moves. You're not going to keep a good team down for very long. The Tigers have made some very good moves. They brought back Mr. Jack Flaherty back after having a really good 2024 season. He will really supersede their expectations and possibly even be in talks of a Cy Young Award, I have a feeling. And the Yankees, yes, they have lost Juan Soto, but, a big but there, they will not go away that easily. They will not go away that easily.
Now, where did you put the Cardinals?
Well, we haven't even got to the
NL that's right. You haven't got to the end of the
Yes.
You're still in AL.
Yes. And I would like to add the O's, the Baltimore Orioles, to this, but with so much uncertainty of how that they're going to face in this year, I honestly don't know if they will make the postseason. That will surprise some people, and I'm up for surprises. So I'm not even going to put the Orioles in the postseason. They could surprise me, but I seriously do not think that the Orioles will make the postseason. Because at the end of the day, the Red Sox have gotten better. The Astros are not going anywhere. The Royals have gotten better. The O's did not do enough to get better.
And they had been on a trend of getting better, hadn't they?
They had, but they lost a big piece in their big starting pitcher, and they did not get him back. It's going to be tough, and I do not see them moving forward in the direction they need to go. Moving on to the National League races. The National League East I have in first place is the Phillies. The Phillies are a very good ball team. In second place I have the New York Mets. Third place I have the Braves. Fourth place I have the Nationals. And fifth place I have the Miami Marlins. In the National League Central, I have the Brewers in first place, the Reds in second place, the Cubs in third place, the Pirates in fourth place, and the Cardinals in last place. The National League West, I have the Dodgers in first place, the Diamondbacks in second place, the Padres in third place, the Giants in fourth place, and in fifth place, I have the Rockies. The National League wild card I have in the third wild card I have the Chicago Cubs. In the second wild card I have the Diamondbacks. In the first wild card I have the Reds. The three teams I think that this will be on the outside looking in when it all comes to fruition is the Mets, Braves, and Padres, and I will explain. The Padres did not do enough. That's that simple. The Braves have pitching, but they lost pitching. They lost one of their big pitchers. They don't have one of their big pitchers this year. and they don't have, I don't think, enough to get them to a postseason run. And the Mets, yes, they brought in the $700 million man in Juan Soto, but they do not have the pitching to make them to the postseason. So there was that three, and then, like I said, the Reds is the first wild card, the Diamondbacks is the second wild card, and the Chicago Cubs is the third wild card. The Dodgers is a given to win the West. The Brewers is almost a given to win the Central. They're a very good ball team. And the Phillies is almost a given to win the East, citing that what the East looks like, because for pitching and offense, they are the best all-around team.
What'd you say about the NL Central again?
The Brewers in first place, the Reds in second place, the Cubs in third place, the Pirates in fourth place, and the Cardinals in fifth place.
The Brewers have got that much. They've got that much better, huh?
Well, they won it last year, and really, I mean, I hate to say it this way, but this year there's not really much of a huge.
It's weak.
It's really weak. It truly is, and it's getting better. It will get better.
Has the Cardinals got any better, you think?
They've gotten worse. They're terrible. They're terrible. I would not go to a Cardinal game right now and cheer them on. I would go to a Cardinal game and cheer on literally any other team that they were playing.
That's sad. That team is. That's where nobody expected that team to get either.
No, it is sad. It's almost a travesty. So really quick, we could sit here and talk about a bunch of this stuff, but I'll be honest with you. I want to kind of go through some of the highlights here. So I do want to talk about John Cena had trashed the WWE Universe until Rhodes fired back. So he had a great promo on Raw last week. Did you get a chance to watch that?
Yes.
What was your thoughts on that?
Sure is strange seeing John Cena act like that. I'll say that. That's strange.
It is. It's very strange. But I kind of like it in a way.
Well, he's doing a really good job with it. I mean, he took the ball and run with it. I think that probably, to be honest with you, I think the less that they have The Rock out there right now, the better for Cena. Give him the more of the attention. Let him do his thing. He don't necessarily need The Rock to hold his hand, if you know what I'm trying to say.
I know exactly what you're meaning. So we saw that. That was a good promo. That was a tough promo for anybody who loved OG Cena, who watched him for the last 20 plus years. I really enjoyed the promo, but there was that. Moving on, we're kind of picking things up. I know we're moving kind of fast here, but moving on, so we had the Women's World Champion Io Sky and Bianca Belair sign the contract for their title showdown, but former title holder Rhea Ripley stormed to the ring, assaulted both superstars, and added her name to the Show of Shows document. So, nothing has been officially confirmed yet, but it sounds like that is going to be a potential triple threat match at WrestleMania.
Think it'll be night 1 or night 2?
I'm thinking probably night 1.
Well, that looks like we may go heavy on the triple threats during WrestleMania, maybe, huh?
I mean, I'm thinking so. I think this is. I mean, we've had some really good Manias in the past, but I think this is probably going to be one of the biggest ones we've ever had.
Yeah, the last couple of years has been pretty good. It really has. And I'm beginning, at first I didn't think so, but now I'm beginning to like the 2-night thing.
Oh, I love the 2-night thing.
Didn't they start this during the pandemic?
Yes.
And I think it was maybe because of the pandemic. I'm not sure what.
Yes. And then I think the year after they started.
They realized that it was worked pretty good.
Yes, and then because I think they did a 2-night thing during the pandemic, and then did one more 1-night thing, and then went back to the 2-night. I think.
I thought they hadn't. Maybe you're right, but I thought they did the 2-night ever since. But anyway, I think the 2-night thing is where it's going to be from here on.
Oh, absolutely. Well, SummerSlam's there now too.
Is it going to be 2 nights?
It has been 2 nights.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's been 2 nights for probably 2 years now.
I didn't realize that. That's always considered their second biggest hurrah of the year, SummerSlam.
Yes. But
I didn't realize it was 2 nights.
Yes, and Triple H said that he would not do any more 2-night shows, other than those two.
Those two only.
Yes,
Well,
because they asked him about the Rumble, and he said that he would not waste a whole weekend like that, because he goes, if you knew how much work it takes to do this, you would not want to even do 1 night.
Right. Well, since those are the two biggest events of the year, I think that's probably good enough. But I do like the idea of the 2-night thing. But I don't think I'd want to see PLE. I wouldn't want to see every one of them as the 2-night thing. That's too much.
Right, I completely agree with that.
But no, I think it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be a really, really good WrestleMania, as they usually almost always are. But so where are we at here on our list? What we got next? Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee defend against who? The Creed brothers?
Yes, the Creed brothers. So, I mean, we can go through all of this here, but my agenda's messed up here. But one thing that I do want to get, a couple things that I do want to get to here is Seth Rollins vowed to target Roman Reigns and CM Punk on SmackDown after Reigns assaulted Rollins and Punk during last week's steel cage match. So coming out on Monday, being tomorrow, this would have been 2 weeks ago, steel cage match. So then we flash forward to Friday night show. Reigns, Punk, and Rollins engaged in an epic brawl and indicated they wanted to fight each other at WrestleMania, and that was eventually confirmed. So we are having that big, huge triple threat, and I would say that would probably be one of the huge main events for night 1.
And I didn't get to, due to work schedule and life. I didn't get to watch it Friday night. Was that their last event were they in Belgium?
Yeah, they were somewhere.
Are they on their way back? Where's Raw going to be?
Well, the next two Raws, I think, are still overseas.
Oh, they're still going to be there, or are they recorded?
No, I think they're still over there.
Okay, I didn't know when they were
because they were because I think it was this past week that I saw that Raw was going to be at air at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for the next 3 weeks.
Oh, okay, all right. I wasn't sure about that. What happened with Gunther and Jey Uso?
So after Jey Uso defeated Austin Theory on Raw, Jey Uso repeals Gunther's attack after defeating him in under a minute. Moments after Theory with an earth-shattering crossbody in less than a minute in Belgium. Main event, Jey Uso took out a down under before repelling a post-match attack by the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther.
Okay. Was that Friday?
That was on Raw.
That was on Raw, because I didn't get all of Raw last week.
Yes, that is because Gunther and Jay are on Raw.
There's a lot of wrestling to keep up with every week, isn't there?
There's just a lot to keep up with, and then, with everything and with life and sports and wrestling, it's just a lot to keep up with. But another thing that I want to get to really quick is the mysterious luchador attacks Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee after the Creeds match. Who is this mysterious luchador?
I don't know. Who do you think? Somebody we know, I suppose.
Yes, and I cannot think of his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's gonna come to me later on, but it's on the tip of my tongue. But I'm curious to see who it is, and I wonder if we will ever figure out who it is eventually.
No, I'm sure.
I figure we will. But Mr. Braun Breaker defeated Finn Balor in an Intercontinental title match, which I heard that was pretty good.
That Braun Breaker, man, I'm really excited about him being.
And I tell you what, this is just me talking. If Cena wins at Mania, that's who I want to see dethrone him.
That's what you want to what?
That's who I want to see dethrone him.
Oh, yeah. He's going. Why ain't they using the name? Why didn't they use the name Steiner?
Because he's Braun Breaker.
I don't know. I just wish they'd have stuck with the tradition of the Steiner.
Maybe he's wanting to distance himself from that.
Maybe that's possible.
Because, not everybody wants to live in their family shadows.
That's true. Scotty's got a boy that's going to be coming out, too.
Yeah. Not everybody's like Charlotte Flair, and the only reason she's popular is because she's living out of her daddy's shadows.
She's popular because she is a heck of a wrestler. You know that.
She's good, but
she's about the best.
But the only reason she got to fame is because of her name.
That helped, but she did a lot of it on her own. She's 14-time champion. And you can't deny, you can't take away from that she is good in the ring. Her and, she's in AEW now. I'm drawing a blank. They had some classic matches when she was in WWE.
Which one?
Redhead, she dyed her hair red.
Oh, yeah, the Sasha Banks.
Yeah, and them two had some classic matches. Amazing matches. About as good as you could, probably some of the best women matches, at least up to that time. Ever.
Her career is over now, though.
Charlotte?
No, Sasha.
You think it is?
Oh yeah. When you go to AEW, your career's over.
I can see her coming back to WWE at some point.
Call me Cornette Jr. over here, but I cannot stand the booking at AEW. It is probably the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah, they don't have any. The thing of it is for wrestling to be good, you can't just throw out sporadic matches. There's got to be stories. You got to tell a story. You go back, everything that we've seen, great programs that they've had with W is always telling a story. AEW doesn't really tell stories. They just throw people out there to wrestle. And that's not what it's supposed to be about. You have to tell a story in wrestling. Just like we got with Cena going on that way. You have to tell a story. They're doing that with Cena. They did that, with the Heyman and the Usos and all that. In the past, we've told stories, but they're not doing that now. They're not doing that at AEW. They're just throwing matches out there.
Right. But I guess when you're a billionaire and can just continue to throw out money and afford to lose money, you can do that.
Well, you would still think that what he's got there could be really something special, I think. And you would think he would want to get some people in there to help him, more than just booking, create a writing team in there and start writing creative stuff.
He needs to bring in Eric Bischoff.
He probably should. He probably should bring in Bischoff. He probably should have grabbed Road Dogg when he had a chance. Could have got him. And I can't believe that he didn't do more with. He's back in WWE now. What's the British? He's British. I can't think of his name. Oh my gosh. I hate this. I can't think of his name, but he had him for a little while, and he was really responsible for a lot of things with WWE as far as writing and stuff. I don't know why he don't get some people in there. There's people that he could bring in that would help him. I know he wants to book, and he can still do that, but he needs to have a creative team.
It's just very. It's just. I mean, the matches itself are not that bad. It's just that there's no, like you said, there's no storytelling, which in turn makes the matches terrible.
Yeah, you don't have an interest in it. You don't have a story, and I don't know why he don't, with his resources, hire a creative team. He can still book. I mean, he'd still be in the middle of it, but to hire a team to do make some creative, get some things going on, get some really good storylines going on, like the with the Bloodline and all that. And he's not doing that. He's got the talent there. There's a lot of talent. They can do a lot of things, but you can't just throw sporadic matches. Listen to Dutch Mantel tell that story about that. You got to have a story.
You know what the WWE needs to do with the Bloodline?
What's that?
They need to have the dead man come in to the ring, the Undertaker, and put the Bloodline storyline, back it into a grave, and bury it, and never, ever dig it back up again, because I am so tired of that storyline. That storyline has been going on for so long.
But that storyline was big. It did a lot. A storyline made millions of dollars.
Now it's done over with. I don't want to hear another thing about the Bloodline.
It's been big for him. It is getting a little worn now, but you'll have to admit it was a big.
It was big when it initially started,
and
but
that brought WWE back up high.
But it was just like reoccurring over and over and over.
Yeah, it has. It's went on. That's been on what, 4 years
or longer.
Or longer, yeah.
So real quick, Tiffany Stratton engaged in a war of words with Charlotte Flair en route to their title match at Showcase of the Immortals. So I thought that was kind of interesting. That was a pretty good promo.
Yeah, I heard something about that. I saw it on online, something about it. I didn't get to see what was said or anything.
Right. My girl Liv Morgan defeated Jade Cargill. I did not get to watch that match, but I'm definitely going to go back and watch that. Because anytime Liv wrestles, I definitely want to watch that.
Yeah, she's good.
And Randy Orton and Kevin Owens have been officially confirmed for WrestleMania 41.
That's going to be a good match. That's going to be real good.
That should be brutal.
And I know we were pretty sure that was going to happen, and I'm glad that it's in writing now. But that's going to be good.
Yes. And an interesting thought that this is a true storyline that came out this week. Kane wants a final match.
The mayor wants to wrestle one more time, huh? The mayor of Knoxville.
Yes, the Kane wants a final match. He was on a news network. I think it may have been Fox, or another type of news network. But now he mentioned that he wants a final match in WWE.
Ain't going to be him and Goldberg, is it?
Oh dear Lord, that would be a disaster. That'd almost be like the Undertaker and Goldberg all over again. Yeah. That was probably one of the worst booked matches ever.
Well, you need them both to where they can go over on their, and you really would need a way to do that. But it'd be interesting to see how that shakes out. I say, hey, let him have it if he wants to have a final match. It'll sell.
Oh, I think so. I think it'll sell for sure. So we appreciate you guys for joining in for our episode number 5. We did not have we had quite a bit to talk about. We feel like that we kind of sped things up towards the end, but with it is kind of getting late here in the Midwest.
I think we had a good show
but
this week.
We had a good show this week. We were able to catch up on things. So we are excited to be back. We'll be back with you next week as well. Hopefully we will have some more MLB news with MLB starting their regular
baseball season will be in next week when we do it.
Yes, and we also have some interesting news that we want to share before we go out. Do you want to tell the interesting news, or do you want me to?
Go right ahead.
We will be in attendance for Backlash.
Yes, that's very exciting news. It just he confirmed it with me today that we have the arrangements has been made. We have the tickets, and so we'll be able to, you can figure that half of our show will probably be about Backlash that week.
Absolutely. We are super excited about that. We're also going to be in attendance for a UFL game in April and a MLB game in April as well. So we are going to be in attendance for 3 sporting events for over the next month to month and a half. So, for those week shows, we are probably going to be talking quite a bit about our experiences at that particular stadium. Maybe you've never been to that particular stadium and want to know a little bit about it. So if you do, holler at us for that. The stadiums that we will be in attendance for is Busch Stadium, the Enterprise Center for the Backlash show, and the Dome at America Center for the UFL game. So if you want to know anything about the stadium parking or anything that you've never been to those stadiums, holler at us on our Instagram page or my TikTok page. I will be posting on TikTok all week promoting this podcast. So once again, we appreciate you guys joining in, and you guys all have a great week, and we will see you on the other side.
All right, we'll talk to everybody later. I enjoyed it this week, and we'll be back next week with more sporting news.